I'm in love with the cold cold. Hey, I'm in love with the cold cold. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ty. I am here to review season 2, episode 5 of Down in the Valley where the girls get naked. Hey, P Valley. But before I get into this episode, I have to give a shout out to my lovely subscribers who hold me down in the comment section. I'm talking about folks like Quentin Baptiste, House of Sir James, Gail Freeman, Mark Johnson, Tanae C, Savannah Rivers Amore, Kerwin Rowland, Saxton Heights, your boy Coy, Karima Khadija, and June BLC, and all the rest of you lovely people. Now, with that being said, let's get on right down to this review of this episode. Tonight's episode is titled White Nights. Now, this is all about Mississippi, aka Keyshawn. We get some backstory. We get to understand what's going on. How she get with this white boy and got this boy beating on her. Where did they meet? We get some backstory on that. You know, that's what we learn. So the episode starts off. Rome is telling her that, the Dirty Dozen tour has been extended. He's getting her this product and this, that, and the third. And, he's always rubbed me the wrong way. And tonight's episode told me why, So he's telling her this, that, and the third. And she's like, no, because Derek don't play it. He said, listen, I done already squared it away with your boyfriend. You going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. I've already squared it away. So now, as that's happening, we see a special guest stripper on this episode at the club that they were at. Is Jocelyn Hernandez. Y'all know Stevie, if you know Love and Hip Hop, I think she's from it. And of course, Jocelyn has done her own reality shows. And she's also doing music. I saw a video or something where she was singing some song. I know you wanna F. But yeah, that Jocelyn. So she had a cameo here. And, she meets with Keyshawn, and she's letting Keyshawn know, you a star, whatever. And she said, listen, I know they just looking at you like you just a hoe, whatever, but your belly is growling. And Keyshawn is like, it's growling. She said, it's a metaphor. But she told her, she said, listen, a hoe ain't never cold. So, she was giving her some advice there. But then we go into some flashbacks, and we learn how Keyshawn came to be Mississippi. We get some backstory on her. We find out how her and Derek met. Apparently, she started off, she see always stereotyping strippers like, they a street hoe and this and that. No, she came from a nice middle class background. She was into cheerleading and all that good stuff. Apparently, she has 2 stepsisters. She was kind of the Cinderella of her family, but still beautiful, big house. But her stepsister, Alicia was the more popular one. That's who the guys gravitated towards and all of that. And then we see a scene where she's being picked on by some football players. She's ignoring them. And Derek came in and saved the day. And he came in and defended her. And, they're looking at him like, what you going to do, white boy? What you going to do? Derek beat the brakes. Derek beat the brakes off of both of them, like beat them down. And that kind of had to make her feel some kind of way, feel good about herself. And then we see him, him and her going on dates. And we see that, he's about his business. Later on, when she's home, we see her doing her stepsister's hair, and she burns one of them, like she burns the ponytail, and the stepmother's upset. But the stepmother was shady from jump. You see a scene where she tells her, you said something about, raising 2 girls. Excuse me, ma'am, there's 3. And Keyshawn let her know, no, you're raising 3 girls. We also saw them kind of get into it where they were having a conversation, and she was mentioning how she met her husband, which is Keyshawn's father. And she said, I served him a drink. She said, yeah, you forgetting the part where you served my mother a drink, ho. You're forgetting that just you're a home wrecker. You're a home wrecker that made it and became, and took over somebody's home and became a housewife. He was with my mother first. Don't forget that. So they got into a little food fight and all that, and a little disagreement. And that was interesting. So you see what she had to go through at home. And she told the lady, listen, I ain't soft. And then she was ready to fight the woman and all of that. Then we saw another scene between them where it's time for the big prom or the dance, you know how they do those dances, the ball or whatever it's called, and the sisters are going, and how shady, she's not dressed, her father, he's all happy taking pictures, and then he's like, Keyshawn, take this picture of me and Alicia, and he gets in the picture, and y'all see how he's groping on Alicia and kissing on her. So I said, oh, daddy got his eyes on his stepdaughters, because Alicia looked very uncomfortable, and Keyshawn was like, she kind of peeped it too. But then who comes to save the day is Derek. He's coming and he's taking her to the dance, and they get into it. This is how they first get into their romance. And this is where Keyshawn, that's where they was, I'm in love with the cold, cold. They was playing that song. And this is where we learn and we see where Keyshawn and him get their relationship. And she learns about Derek, and she learns that Derek getting beat up by his father. So that's where he gets his violent side from his daddy. Beating, it's because his father was beating up on him and things like that. So that was pretty much that. And when she comes home from the dance, her stepmother's looking upset. So I'm assuming that she gives her some advice about not being a man's prize and all that. And I'm like, and it tells me more than likely Keyshawn's daddy was cheating on the stepmom too. But whatever. So we go back to present day. Teak got an attitude as usual. It's money laying all around. It's been a successful night. Teak got an attitude as usual. But that scene was hilarious when Wody and Keyshawn looked at each other, and they saw, because somebody asked Teak if he wanted something. He was like, I don't want nothing. I said I don't want to be bothered. And Keyshawn said, you think they effing? And the guy said, I think they effing. That was funny. And I also like when Wody told Keyshawn, he said, you know what? I don't like your hair. Because she had the blonde hair. He said, I don't like your hair. I like the natural hair that grows out of your head. It was interesting. Then we go back to flashbacks of a pregnant Keyshawn, and they're struggling, and she's like, your parents haven't really helped or whatever. And this is one of the first times that Derek lays hands on her, and he's choking her, and he tells her, you trapped me and my family. I guess basically disowned him because of her. You trapped me, this, that, and the third. And I thought all of that makes sense. We're seeing how her connection to him. And one breath, it's like she understands where his violence comes from because of his childhood trauma. And that's because I'm like, why was she staying with him? But she still needs to leave him because this man's going to end up killing her. So he's choking her out. And then what a sad scene when she tries to go home and it's raining and the stepmother's like, go back home. You got to deal with your own consequences. I thought that was really foul. And I'm like, you see what she went through. So she had to go back to him. And it's like, this is just all crazy. Just horrible. But then we go back to present day. She's in the room, the hotel room with Rome. Rome has already, him and Big Teak and them done fell out. He's up in the room. And I was like, something ain't right. I knew he liked Keyshawn, but I didn't expect him to do what he did. So they're having this conversation. He tells her that the wig deal fell through, but he's got this high heel stripper shoe deal for her. And she said, well, that's only 3% of a smaller market. Then they start talking. He says, go on and get dressed so we could meet up with Jocelyn. Homeboy's still in his robe. Next, the robe is open. He got his wiener hanging out, trying to arouse her, because he's like, listen, a hoe is a hoe. That's all he see her as, is a hoe. He don't see her as a businesswoman or someone with a mind. So she's telling him, she says, he said, you about to go strip, whatever, all this stuff I done for you. Now it's time for you to do something for me. So she's like, Rome, stop. I'm not into that. I'm not into you. He says, well, what is it that you do out here in these strip clubs? She says, I sell fantasy. I make these dudes think that they're in control. They not getting none from me. I just do what I got to do and turn them on. And then I go about my business and get my money. He was like not feeling that. This is the scene where he says to her, he's like, listen, you think I'm stupid. And he says all these things. And he reveals to her that he got it all on tape. He's got it recorded. That he knew. He said, I seen that thing you kissing all over Lil Murder, and he ain't into that. And he basically called him the F word. He said he's gay, and I got the proof. And he showed her the video of Lil Murder and Big Teak, and he said he's a F word, and you a hoe, and you going. And he jumped on her and attempted to rape her. What a coward! What a coward. So you think because you've done stuff for her career, now you can rape old girl? Like, come on. So that made me, that was pissing me off. That was really pissing me off. But I'm glad she was able to break free, hit him, knee him in the groin, and she made her way over to Wodie's and told him all what happened. And she gets free. I thought that was good. Now, when she gets home, we go back to present day because she's canceling tour. Screw this. Screw the tour. They get to present day, and she goes home to her kids, and her oldest son is acting funny or whatever. She takes him to the doctor and finds out he has a dislocated shoulder. But then when they pull his back up, they see all these bruises. But then this is what got me, y'all. I know in normal circumstances, wouldn't ACS be called? Somebody will be called, Child Protective Services. The doctors are just looking at her. So now she goes home and she tells Derek, she says, now, Derek, you cannot be hitting on these kids. You can beat on me. No, ma'am. No man should be putting his hands on you, Keyshawn. No. She said, listen, you could beat on me, but you will not touch these kids. And he's like, I was disciplined. That's how I was disciplined. You got to straighten kids out. And he gives this whole spiel. She tries to tell him he was better than his father. This coward punches her in the face. Her nose is bleeding, or lip is bleeding, whatever. Drags her into the kitchen. And this coward takes the iron. And he's like, I was sitting there. I didn't like that scene at all. And it's like he's trying to burn her in her face or whatever have you. Really disgusting. And she's pleading with him. And he told her, I will discipline my kids the way I see fit. You know, burn in hell, Derek. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. And I want this woman to get away from him. You should have let Diamond end him when he had the chance. You should have let Diamond finish him off. But, hey, she's in love. And I understand it's complicated. But what, are you just going to sit around till this man kills you? Is that what you're going to do? It was irking me. It was really irking me. But still a good episode. So then we go on back over to Rome, and Rome got all the women and all this stuff going on. He's still in that robe, and Wodie pays him a visit, and he's like, oh, I want to talk to you about, what happened, what's going to happen with the tour. And he said, oh, we could find plenty of women like her, Diamond, a dozen. Now that Keyshawn left the tour, what's going to go on here? And then he says, hey, what about Lil Murder? He's like, oh, you got all this, you into him more than you really need to be. So he pretty much dissed him. And then, Wodie offered him some coke. And he's like, you try it first. And did you pay attention? He did the opposite line, not the line that he had Rome do. So then Rome did that. And, of course, it was a bad batch. It was fentanyl or something like that. And he basically killed him off, because, see, you know too much. You know about Lil Murder's little secret. And he's like, but he said to him, where's that tape? Where did you hide the recording? And my thing is, you killed him, but you don't have the recording. Because, Rome then killed over. And up until this episode, I liked Rome. But what he did tonight, he was pretty disgusting. So it was, he got what he deserved. It looks like he's dead from the overdose of the nose candy. So, I like that. And the episode ends off with the dude smiling. But I feel so sorry for Keyshawn. And I was hoping, like, does she have a gun or something? Do something. Something has to be done with Derek. I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. But I thought tonight's episode was really good. It was a really good episode. Good to get that backstory. And I'm wondering if they're going to do this with some more characters, where we're going to get a little bit more backstory and a little bit more understanding of those characters. And we see that we understand her relationship with Gidget too, because you see Gidget went to school with her as well. So that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. You all be blessed.